Okay, now that I've got it to fit my template pretty well, I'm going to spend a little time and clean up this inside part. And I'm also going to clean up this lip area. I'm going to extrude my lip, and so I'll show you how to use the extruder. But so for right now, I'm just getting this So now it's time to clean up the outside of my vessel. As it dries, this becomes a lot easier. Up here is really wet and squishy, and so I'm not going to focus very much on here, but I'm really going to take some time to clean this bottom part up. So I like to put my vessel in my lap to clean it. You don't have to. You can do it on the table. Just be careful not to drop it. And I'm probably distorting this part because it's pretty wet right here. So I may have to fix that. So it would be better if I just set it aside and let all of this set up to where it's the same consistency down here. But I am impatient and I'm just going to clean it right now. So this again becomes a little, so now I'm scraping it away. This becomes a little easier to do when it's even drier than this. This is a hair on the wet side. But so what you want to do is you want to use your serrated rib and you want to scrape away your high spots. And so I'm just going to focus on this bottom area. And so the serrated rib works really well. It sort of works like a heavy grit sandpaper, or sort of like a chiseling tool that stone artists use. And so what's great about it is you can remove clay in a fairly slow and controlled manner. And by going at the diagonal, you're less likely to chatter with your bumps. And so what I mean by that is if you go straight up and down like this, you end up sometimes making your low spots worse because this is the way your coils are going, and it's easy to make your low spots lower and your high spots higher. And so it's easier to actually go at a diagonal. It feels funny at first, but it's a lot easier to go at a diagonal because you're less likely to make your low spots lower. And it's easier just to graze on the off of the top and get your bumps off. And so sometimes you have to go a couple different ways, and a couple different directions. If you feel like you just made your bump worse, you go at it from a different angle, a different direction. And so I'm being careful not to distort my circle down here. But I just distorted that. But that's okay. So I made that bump worse, so I'm going to go the opposite direction here. And so this is why you want to make your clay walls maybe a little bit thicker than what you were planning on, because this gives you room to scrape away your bumps. And so if you started with your clay walls too thin, it would be very easy to scrape right through your vessel and leave a hole. And that is exactly what you don't want to do. So having your vessel walls a little on the thick side buys you some peace of mind. So once you've got your bumps out, then you can use one of your metal rib tools. And so the kidney shaped one works really great. I also really like this one. just depending on the shape that I'm working with. And so again, you're going to go at it from a diagonal. And so now you're going to take all of those serrated rib lines out. So you don't want to go on your vessel with this round part, because if you do this, then you're going to end up gouging at it. You want a nice flat surface, so use the flat part of your rib, your metal rib. And so I'm going to get my vessel fairly smooth, but again, it's still a little on the wet side. This actually works a lot easier and better if it's a little more dry. And so probably what I would do is, as it dries out more, I would go back with my metal rib and sort of smooth it out again. But I wouldn't use my serrated rib. I would just go straight to one of my metal, like my kidney rib, probably, and really go at it one more time to get it absolutely smooth. But I'm not going all the way up here because it's even wetter still up here. So I'm just really focusing on this bottom portion of my vessel. Okay, that's good enough for now. As you can see, I really distorted the shape of my vessel. So when I put that up, it didn't fit at all anymore. So that's why it pays to be more patient, because now I'm going to spend some time fixing this. So you can see some areas, like right there, I didn't get my coil blended very well. And so as I have been pounding it, it has sort of come back out. And so that's why you want to try and do a good job blending your coils. So that's easy enough to fix. If it's wet enough, I can serrate it away, or else if it's kind of on the dry side, I can score and slip and fix it. So. This clay is a little bit drier right here, so it's going to be better to use in this place where my clay is a hair dryer. I'll just push that in and support it from the side as I blend that in. So as I keep cleaning my vessel again, now I can leave it on the table and really clean out my high and low spots. And so oftentimes when I do this, I'm really looking at the profile so that I'm really trying to get a nice straight line. And so at this point, I'm really, I've made it fit the template as best as I can, and I'm really not going to pay that much attention to the template anymore. I'm just going to really try and get a nice, clean line that doesn't have any wobbles in it, and a nice smooth surface. So again, this is still a hair on the wet side, but will give you the gist of it. And so oftentimes when I'm using my rib, I'm kind of bending it to wrap it around the vessel so that I have as much of this flat part contacting the vessel at a time. And so I'm just really taking out my high spots. And so as I go up the vessel to clean it, again, I would wait until this is drier because it'll be a lot easier as it dries. So I'm still using this flat part, but now as I go into this corner, if my rib doesn't really fit in perfectly this way, straight up and down, it's not bad. But if I put it at a diagonal, then it fits in pretty well. And so I can go through and clean that up with the rounded part of my rib. And then I'll flip back and go back with the flat